You're listening to All Things Video, the podcast dedicated to uncovering the past and charting the future of the online video ecosystem. You're listening to All Things Video. I'm your host, James Creech, and today's guest is Adam Frank, founder and CEO of Wisio. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, we met recently, and I've been privileged to come on board as an advisor to Wisio, so I'm a big fan of what you're building. But I thought we'd start and take us back to the early days, right? I mean, tell us about your childhood, your parents, right? Like, what got you interested in building businesses? I'm curious what you were like as a kid.
Okay, so I was born in Australia, and my parents took me to Israel when I was 8 years old. And it was I remember the cultural shock that I got the first day I actually landed here in Israel. And then I think I got like really spiced up when I joined the army. I was 5 years in the army here in Israel, 1 year in the flight academy, and the other 4 years as an officer in the Israeli Air Force intelligence units. And they really taught that. I think that was the first time where I actually got tools and where they taught me to actually think outside the box and be extremely solution oriented. In the flight academy, if you are not solution oriented, you're out. And I've been seeing that with many of my friends. Eventually, I was out as well, but not from that reason. So.
Yeah. And the Israeli Army and Air Force has a reputation for being among the most disciplined and organized in the world. So I'm sure there's quite a bit to the reputation.
Right, and part of the foundations or the bread and butter of the army is debriefing, always debrief and understand and learn conclusions on how to become better for the next time, understand your mistakes, talk about them in an open manner, and try to think very lean and always come up with the most cheapest and effective solutions to be better the next time. So that's actually something that I really understood there. And after the army, I started learning computer science at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem.
And why computer science?
Well, I actually eliminated. I had a huge interest in music, but except music, I didn't really have any special passion to anything. And I really understood that with music, it's just most of the chances that I won't be able to like make a lot of money or like reach my full creative potential through music. So I started eliminating projects and started eliminating different sectors, and eventually I eliminated most of the things but computer science. So I said, hey, that's supposed to be something about that's related to the future, so let's study that. This is how I actually ended up moving to Jerusalem and studying computer science.
And not only that, right? You finished your computer science degree and you stuck around and got an MBA.
Yeah, I did. So that was a really funny story. I didn't want to do my MBAs. I just wanted to finish my studies and move on. But my friend, he really was eager to do the MBA, and he told me, hey, he's called Itamar. He said, Adam, I'm not going to do the MBA without you. So he actually logged into my email. He had my password. He sent a message to the MBA school and faculty, and he said, like, on my behalf, he said, hey, I want to get accepted. These are my grades. Please, take me in. And they actually got back to me a few weeks later. He said, telling me that I got accepted.
No way, that worked, huh?
And he came to me and said, hey, Adam, did you get accepted to the business school? And I was like, yeah, I can't remember applying. I was like, yeah, listen, I have to confess something. So I was like, hey, dude, I'm not doing that. But he was like, listen, let's just do it. It'll be fun. And eventually it was such a great decision, because my final project there actually got me one step closer to all the machine learning technologies. Our final project was an amazing project. That it tried to figure out if there was any correlation between Trump's tweet. It was it was when they were, you know, in the election race. We wanted to find correlations between their tweets and the change in the daily poll the next day.
Oh, that's interesting.
So we built a robot that actually extracted all of their tweets, both tweets, and then tried to understand in, you know, in a very sophisticated way, what are the topics, what is the sentiment, and so on. And we found crazy correlations.
Really? Wow.
You wouldn't believe, like, you wouldn't believe. Just to give you like one crazy correlation.
Yeah.
When Trump spoke in a very like we analyzed tweets and we gave them grades, sentiment grades from -5 to +5. So when Trump spoke with a strong sentiment, even if a strong sentiment was like 3+,
positive or negative,
right? Yeah. Exactly. And when it was strong, then usually his polls tended to go up the next day. And when Hillary said the same thing, the same topics with the same sentiment strength, her polls tended to go down. And that was just one of one of the amazing insights that we found out.
And do you think that that's a gender bias? Is it, you know, conservative versus liberal? Is it the audience? And what impacts that?
Right. It was definitely, to us, it was definitely a gender bias. You know, we gave it an initial research, but that wasn't part of our project. Our project was to find the correlations and not to explain them, but yeah, the initial explanation was, you know, gender, of course. We found crazy other correlations. What the most, you would think that the most important topic would be like financials and security and things like that. But eventually what really moved the needle was how much they trashed each other. The more trashed, the more change in the polls the day later.
Wow.
So we really found gold here. And if we would actually, you know, care enough and sell this information to one of the parties, that would do tremendous, that would be tremendously.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a future career as a political pundit or some sort of research analyst at the very least. That's fascinating.
Right. Yeah.
Now, how about Israeli politics? Have you applied similar models, or is Israeli politics as dynamic as U.S. races are?
Right. So the answer is no, because two main reasons. First of all, it's in Hebrew, so all the NLP diagnosis is extremely harder, and you have to do like a lot of manipulations to get good results. And the other thing is that the Twitter movement isn't in the culture here in Israel to actually, you know, tweet 5 times a day to win the elections. So. And of course, there wasn't any elections at the time in Israel, so it was just a perfect project.
Fair enough.
Perfect timing.
Well, I'm already seeing some parallels to the next step on your journey, which is, you know, in 2012 you joined Tok Media, which was building this social network for discussing news, politics, current events, right? So you come aboard as the CTO. How did you get connected with the Tok Media team?
So as a matter of fact, I didn't start as a CTO. I started as their QA during my studies, and only after about a year I was promoted to become a senior developer, and then a senior developer, and very quickly I became the CTO.
Wow! So you climbed the ladder all the way from, you know, entry level to the top. That's incredible.
That was more luck than brains, but yeah. I was extremely fortunate. I was extremely fortunate to be in the right time, you know, in the right position. And yeah, I heard about Tok Media by a friend of mine who interviewed there, and he said, hey, you know, this is a great company backed by a great VC here in Israel. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm very creative, and I heard that, you know, joining a mega company kills creativity most of the times, and, you know, starting as a startup is a good direction to go. So I just hopped on it. I went. I made it through my first interview. They were my first interview. I never interviewed to anyone.
That's all it took, huh? Yeah, you found it. That's all it took. Amazing.
So it was awesome, and yeah, and I like really fell in love with all the startup world, with the pace and the unknowns and the challenge. And fortunately, while I was the CTO, I was very, very close to Ron, the founder and the CEO, and he taught me so many things. And it was just, it was just a private lesson that for free, and I got it from one of the best founders in Israel. So to me, it was incredible.
That's awesome. Very good. So that helps you as you go on to found Wisio in 2016, right? Which is a service that helps creators get paid to produce these personalized videos for the followers with a special focus on mentorship, right? And building that connection, right? Thinking, you can probably describe this better than I can, but every creator has this audience that wants to hear from them, right? And oftentimes they can't get the creator's attention, or there's not an incentive for the creator to spend time there. So how do you remove those obstacles and allow the creators to connect with their followers and monetize that potential? I'm curious, where did the original inspiration for Wisio come from?
Right. So when I was a student, I met my founder and one of my best friends, Idan, and we actually had a hard time occasionally understanding lectures during university. So after class, we would go and see see the algorithms and learn all of the classes through YouTubers who explain the materials way better than what we actually could understand from our 70-year-old lectures here in Israel. And we actually fell in love. We saw those amazing creators. Most of the time, they were very small creators who had a very loyal and niche and niche audience. Who were exactly talking about what we needed to study and complete our information from. So occasionally we had questions to those creators and we reached out to them. We would send them comments, we would DM them, we would email them about, hey, this is what I'm stuck. I totally understood what you're saying, but here's my practice for my class. And could you really help me? Just give me 5 minutes of your time. And I would say that 99% of creators ignored us, and to us it was very unreasonable. We were like, hey, we're your followers, you're famous because of us, you're amazing because of us followers, why are you ignoring us? And then a few years later, something very similar happened to me. I actually a few years ago I decided I want to make a change in my life, and I want to stop being a couch potato, and so I signed up to the Ninja Warrior show. And I said that will be my drive, that will be my motivation. If they will give me a call and say, hey, we're interested in you, I'm going to lose weight and I'm getting to the show. So, and that's what happened. They gave me a call. They said, hey, come for an audition. And I started training. I lost 25 kilos and eventually I got into the Ninja Warrior show. It was an amazing journey. And actually, I really wanted a memo, to document and have a really great time of have a really great memo of my journey. So I opened an Instagram channel and I documented everything there through nutrition and transformation and weight loss and entrepreneurship and so on, and pranks. I love doing pranks in my free time. And I actually gained a few thousands of followers who were really interested in my style, in me, in who I am. And that was awesome. I actually became a social media creator myself. And once I became a social media creator myself, two things happened. The first thing was I wanted to make money, because everyone makes money in the social media world, right? So I took a look at the existing solutions and none of them actually fit. I wasn't big enough to do influencer marketing and advertisement. I wasn't expert enough to offer courses. I wasn't famous enough to offer shout outs. I wasn't trendy enough to sell merch. I wasn't artistic or committed enough to offer exclusive content on Patreon, such an amazing platform. I wasn't needy enough to beg for tips. I wasn't businessy enough to build communities and websites. So eventually there were so many tools out there for creators, but none of them fit me. And then I saw the opportunity. My inbox was full of questions from my followers, which I totally ignored. And then everything clicked, because I was one of the creators who ignored me 5 years ago or 7 years ago when I was studying. And then we had this aha moment where we said, oh my God, every creator is a potential mentor, advisor, and even a friend, but they just don't know it yet. And this is actually what Wisio does. Wisio surfaces that and actually empowers creators to be mentors, advisors, and even friends without them knowing how to actually be a mentor. This is what we do. And the way we do it is by providing creators a variety of ways to have offline personal, meaningful, short form relationships with their followers, while Wisio takes care of all the rest but creating the content. We take care of the customer support, the feature development, the payments, the emails. Actually, what Wisio knows how to do best is to turn the demand for your attention, which you already have, into income. And that's Wisio in a nutshell. And the beauty about Wisio is that you don't need to know how to be a mentor. You sign up to Wisio within 3 clicks, you've got a ready to go profile, and Wisio is the conductor. So all you need to do is follow the instructions, and you will actually mentor your followers without even knowing how to do it. So
that's incredible. I love that it is based on your experience, right? First, as someone on one side trying to get the attention of a creator, and then you stumble into being this small social media influencer, and you've got people who are interested in following your journey as a ninja warrior, and your nutrition and habits and everything else. And finally, it all clicks together. Oh, I can help other people solve this problem and engage with their followers, monetize this opportunity. That's really powerful. So I have a million questions about creator economy and about Wisio, and I want to get to all that. But first, had you always considered yourself an entrepreneur? Did you think, I'm going to go through university, and once I finish, before that military training, ultimately I'm going to build businesses? Or, what ignited the spark for you there?
Right. So that's a good question. I never put in a lot of thought about my future. I just knew that I'm extremely creative, and that was actually something that led me since I remember myself. In every situation, I was always the one who brought the out of the box solution. But the main I would say turning point where I actually understood that entrepreneurship is what I want to do is because of Idan, my partner. He actually he had this bug of the entrepreneurship bug, and he came to me for half a year before we quit our jobs, and he said, Adam, listen, you're one of the most creative people I know. We have to do something. We have to build something together. Come on, let's do it. Come on. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm very comfortable with my life. I'm making a ton of money now through my CTOing, and I'm fine. And it's like, yeah, but you're missing out. You have no idea what you're missing out. So he started sending me materials, and he said, listen, Adam, give 30 minutes of research every day with the materials I send you, and trust me, you won't regret it. And once you get there, there's no way back. So I actually did it. I committed to 30 minutes a day, and I read all of his materials he sent. He sent like the Y Combinator course and so many other amazing materials, and I actually totally fell in love with it immediately. I said, oh my God, this is for me. And since then, everything is history. So
sounds like a good friend.
Oh yeah.
How did Idan have all those resources? Is he entrepreneurial? Has he been involved in other ventures prior to this?
Right. So he's definitely an entrepreneur by heart, and he initiated many innovations. He was the head of the student union in the Hebrew University. He brought so many things there. He was a music producer, and he made events and all about music and performances. So he really understands the life of being a creator, and also understands the struggles of an individual non-famous creator out there. I think that I hope Idan's parents won't hear this podcast, but both of his parents are from huge corporates, and they've been working there all their life. I don't want to say the name, but it's huge. And Idan probably saw what he doesn't want to be, I would assume. And he said, I want the opposite. And he's actually living his dream. So
that's great. And there are different paths, right? Some people want the corporate life, and that's fantastic. And then other people are drawn to building something from scratch, which is painful but rewarding, right? So good for him for finding that path for himself.
Definitely. And luckily we both have this attitude of we didn't build a startup to get rich and to make money and whatever, right? We built a startup to do something meaningful, to be as creative as possible, and without anyone trying to limit us to a very small scope of decisions and so that really fulfills us. That's part of our that we're living the dream. So
amazing. What's the hardest part? What's the biggest challenge of being a first-time founder?
Right. So we've been doing tons of mistakes since day one, and I think that the hardest. So I'll start with the positive outcome of the hardest part. The hardest part is that we're making tons of mistakes all the time. Luckily, we're single founders, but we're friends, and we went through all the hard times together. So if I would never imagine myself being able to do it individually, right? To be a single founder. Luckily, I've got it done, and he's not only a founder, he's my friend as well. So that is that is the upside of that. I believe that the hardest part, so every phase has its hardest part. That's what I would say. Before raising your first dollar, the hardest part is to actually consult with people and try to understand what is your place in the world. And most of the people, not intentionally, but they tell you how impossible it is to bring your idea to life, and how bad of an idea it is. And that we don't understand anything. And many times so many experienced people came to us and told us all about their experience and why this will never work, and why what we're doing is never gonna interest anyone. So every phase has its own challenges. Building the product, once you raise the initial pre-seed money, then you have to build a product. Building the product has all of its challenges. Employees who just decide that that they're fed up and that they leave, and they just want to leave. The developers who promise to provide some sort of code until this deadline, and they're not even close to it. So really every challenge is, and then raising the next rounds with investors who sometimes it doesn't usually happen, but we've had a case where an investor, after I would say 6 months of due diligence, and while he said that he's at the signing day, he just disappeared and never spoke with us again.
Wow, that's disappointing.
And we relied on that money. We were totally like hiring and doing things according to his agreement and commitment. So and of course touching the market and trying to understand what exactly would be the perfect market fit, the perfect offering that you could actually differentiate yourself and be extremely valuable to the market. I would say that part of the hardest challenge today is that there is a huge boom in the creator economy startups. During the past year, we're seeing over 200 or maybe 300 startups that have just been born during 2020, 2021, who are offering tools for creators and amazing solutions out there. And it's really an art to distinguish yourself and to really try to understand how different you are from all of the companies, and why we are going to actually be the ones who make it. And of course, it's not only going to be one company. If it's going to be many companies that are going to make it, the market is huge. But it's always the race to trying to be different and not better. And you always have to reinvent yourself. If today we're different, it doesn't mean that we're going to be different in 6 months from now or in a year from now. We always have to be 2 steps ahead of the market in that mindset. So that's quite of a challenge all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Right. I mean, you described a number of the prevalent problems in the early days, but it's constant and it's across every part of the business. And it's awesome to have a co-founder who you can rely on, right? Someone who shares in the experience. And when you're having a tough day, they lift you up, and vice versa, because getting through those challenges, especially early on, is difficult, right? But it's a testament to sticking with it. And then it gets easier and easier, and you start to build something that you and the customers can be proud of. So that's awesome. I'm curious to better understand the Israeli startup community, right? I mean, we here in the States are familiar with some of the high profile success stories, Waze, right, which is acquired by Google, Nice Analytics, right? But what does the ecosystem look like in Tel Aviv and some of these other kind of Israeli startup hubs?
Right. So Tel Aviv is kind of similar to, I would say, in a hybrid of New York and San Francisco in a way. It's really packed with so many opportunities and so many events around. that being said, Idan and I were fortunate enough to actually build and initiate our startup in Jerusalem, which is totally out of the startup scene, out of the scope. I would say that recently I read that Jerusalem is like number 50, the city number 50 in the world in the startup best cities to be at. But when we started in Jerusalem, there were like 50 startups or something like that. It was totally not an ecosystem. And actually, we were fortunate enough to be funded by a micro VC called JumpSpeed by Ben Wiener. Ben Wiener was our first investor. He came to us and said, guys, you're two Jerusalemite people. You have a Jerusalemite company. My whole agenda is to promote Jerusalemite startups. I totally believe in you. Here's my money. I don't care if you're gonna complete your funding round or not. This is my money. I believe in you guys as founders. Go and do magic with it. So actually, we were really fortunate to be part of this new ecosystem that was born in Jerusalem. And you know, Ben's the JumpSpeed's money like quickly ended up being a way bigger round, and a lot of them were Jerusalemite investors. We founded our company here and in Jerusalem. We hired Jerusalemite people, and we actually really were part of the founding team of the Jerusalemite ecosystem. So that was awesome. That was like really living the dream. We felt like that was like the entrepreneur of the entrepreneurship, and that was awesome. We also got some grants because of the fact that we built a company in Jerusalem and not in Tel Aviv. So that was such a great kickstart. About a year ago, or not a year ago, after COVID, you know, we moved to Tel Aviv because just because of the talent that it's extremely hard to find good talent not in Tel Aviv because all the talent just moves there.
Sure.
So now we're living in the the regular startup ecosystem in Tel Aviv, which is awesome. But together with it, there's a huge competition for talent, which as a company, it's not always good. It's tough. You have to give competitive salaries, and as a startup with limited resources, it's often a challenge. But again, you have so many talent there, so it's just really great to be there, like with all the big players out there.
Yeah, there's that gravitational pull, right? I think the same is true for LA, right? When it comes to media and tech ventures, or the Valley, right? Obviously, the foundation of a lot of the startup culture, and New York, Boston, some of these other environments in LA or in the US, where you've got that attraction, right? That need to be in and around talent, investors, opportunities. They're kind of more nascent in those places, or natural in those places. Right. Let's talk a little bit more about the creator economy. Zooming out, right? If you had to make 3 predictions for the future of this space, what would they be?
Oh, wow. So first of all, we believe that if content was king, now the individual is going to be the new king. We are seeing a huge trend towards independent creators who do not aim to be huge and big like in the past. They have a loyal fan base, and they will actually be the future of knowledge. I don't know when you got to study a new skill lately, but usually you would find yourself searching for a new skill. You would stumble upon a very small social media creator somewhere, a YouTuber, an Instagrammer, someone who really teaches you exactly what you need. And usually those creators are very, very small. And we actually believe that they will hold the future of knowledge, the future of education. So if 10 years ago you would get your knowledge from universities, and 5 years ago you would get the knowledge from info products and courses from mega creators or influencers that actually taught you things, the future will actually be through those micro creators who are awesome at exactly what specific things. And this is actually a new way of consuming knowledge and information. So this is actually one trend that we're seeing. We're seeing another trend where followers want to be more involved in the creator's journey. If 10 years ago followers were only a view, 5 years ago followers would probably be a like or a comment or a supporter on Patreon, for example. Followers today, because of the fact that we're talking about way more creators who are relatively smaller followers feel like they could actually be more involved in their journey, in the creator's journey. So they reach out to them, and they have some sort of interactions with them, and they want to be way more than a like or a comment. So this is actually another trend that we're foreseeing, where followers movement is going to be it's going to increase. So these are the two main trends that we're actually seeing. And let me think about the third trend.
Yeah, while you're thinking about it, I want to unpack that a little bit, right? The first thing you mentioned is kind of this general movement towards populism, right? So rather than placing our trust or learning from institutions, right, we're moving away from that and towards people. And the same is true in politics. That's why you have the rise of these, individual celebrity personas and politicians, the Donald Trumps, on the right, and the Ted Cruzes, but you also have AOC and Bernie, right? These people that are activating kind of these grassroots, really loyal fan bases. We're seeing the same thing play out in companies, right? 30 years ago or previous generations, you would think about working for Microsoft, IBM, right? And now you've got, the focus is on entrepreneurship or about people, right? It's not so much about the institution. It's not Amazon, it's Jeff Bezos. It's not, Tesla, it's Elon Musk. So there's this kind of drive towards the cult of personality, which I think in many ways is a response to what social media has done. It's created that direct connection between individuals and another individual personality creator on the other side. That was the kind of the first point. And then on the second point, that fans or followers have gone from being passive and reactive to playing an active role in the content creation process, right? And that can be taken to extreme examples of live streaming and meetups. But then you also have, I'm not just a TV viewer who will never meet this celebrity anymore. It's okay, there's a YouTube channel, I can comment, I can engage. Okay, now there's Patreon, I can support this person financially. Now it's being taken to even further extremes with platforms like now where you can actually pay to vote on what a creator does in their content. There's platforms like Wisio where you can build a direct relationship with the creator that you love and get a response tailored and personalized just to you, right? That's a huge shift in entertainment being this one-way, mechanism to conversation. Right now that the locus of power is shifted to individuals, we can create these dialogues, and the entertainment landscape has become fragmented as a result because anyone can be a content producer, anyone can build an audience.
Right, and totally, and actually a third trend would be that this is just going to boom. The creator economy today is estimated by 50 to 70 million creators out there. There are many studies that are projecting 150 to 300 million creators by 2025. It really depends on the research. It makes total sense. And now with the metaverse, it's just becoming crazy where everyone wants to shift from the real world to the digital world and to at least have some sort of presence. People use social media now as their personal, I would say personal business card, a personal branded business card. Everyone now is a personal brand. You are a personal brand of yourself. You're doing this podcast. This contributes to you as a podcaster or a potential, So everyone is looking to increase their social media presence, and it's crazy because if you would ask children in the United States 20 years ago what they want to be when they would grow up, they would say astronauts and doctors. Today's researchers say that 70% of the children want to be YouTubers, and that is crazy. So we're totally expecting to see way more creators joining this economy. This economy will get evolved and have so many different branches of ways to actually be and monetize and influence and acquire knowledge. So definitely that would be the third trend that we're seeing now.
Awesome. And as you think about these bigger trends, what does the future hold for Wisio? How do you factor all of this into your analysis and your future roadmap?
Right. So one of our vision points is to make everyone reachable. It struck me when I reached out to creators and they never answered, and it strikes me when I try to reach investors and they never answer me, or any intellectuals or someone I could learn from, which, it's not that they're bad people and ignore me. They just are too flooded that they don't even notice my existence, right? So Wisio is going to start from the long tail creators. This is our go-to-market, those who like really have a lot of interest in joining the platform and having the time and availability to actually connect with their followers. But once this is going to be a trend where Wisio is the way to connect one-on-one with anyone in the world, with any independent creator, then it's going to bubble up to those medium-sized creators, and then to the top tier creators. Just imagine, Elon Musk comes to his followers every once in a while, says, hey guys, I want to give to the society back. I'm opening 20 slots in my Wisio account. Anyone who needs me, pays $500 for a 5-minute advice. Listen, all the money goes to charity. I don't need your money. Don't worry about it. But at least I'm going to be available for the ones who really, really, really need me. So that's how we envision Wisio bubbling up from bottom to top, and then also expanding to different areas outside social media. Just imagine politicians who have their Wisio presence and tell their advocates, hey guys, if you want my advice, if you want my opinion, just ping me on Wisio. Businessmen, B2B positions, if me as an entrepreneur, I want to reach some sort of very luxurious B2B position in a big company, it's going to take quite a while to actually reach that and build that relationship and reach that connection. Just imagine it's going to be a standard where everyone's going to have a Wisio. Some of them are going to earn, and some of them are going to donate the revenue to donate the money to charity. But again, it's going to be a standard because it's going to be part of a gesture, to give back. So this is how we actually envision where Wisio expands.
I love that, right? Having a broader mission and sense of purpose and a clear vision of, where's the creator economy going? How does Wisio empower that? And it's not just, obviously it starts with micro influencers, long tail, right? But there's this bigger opportunity for the mid-sized talent, traditional celebrities, right? Connecting anybody in the world, making them accessible. That's really powerful.
Exactly.
So obviously you're so focused on Wisio, right? You're in the midst of building this from nothing, right? Creating this new business and attracting this new opportunity. But one of my favorite questions to ask everyone who comes on the show is, if you were starting a business in the creator economy today, right? Knowing what you know now, where's the white space, right? For other entrepreneurs listening in, what are the problems that have not been solved yet and people should be thinking about?
Wow. So I would definitely think, so while I don't have an exact answer, I have a few areas of interest where I think should be addressed. All about NFTs, but not in the basic form of NFTs, like where you can buy a piece of art from a creator and trend it, and trade it. We're talking about like the taking some sort of value from the social media creators and actually through NFTs and using it in the real world, perhaps in the metaverse, perhaps in something, join some sort of community, create communities and clubs and memberships around that type of NFT value that you could actually get from those creators. I think that's a very interesting area to explore, and it's totally new and many opportunities there. I've seen interesting companies already who actually, for example, I've seen a company, I believe it's called Rally. They're awesome. They provide tokens per creator, which you can invest in a creator. That's incredible. So that is awesome. That's the next step of being a patron, of being a patron for someone. So I would say that NFT, metaverse, there's some sort of interesting connections that you could do there. And there is another problem, which it's not new, but if someone would be able to find a viable solution to increase exposure in for the long tail creators, that would be incredible. It's extremely hard to do so because the social media channels, they control the distribution of that, and outside the social media channels, it's really hard to actually make a difference. But that is a pain. Social media creators want exposure and they want revenue. These are the two main things that social media creators need. The exposure thing isn't really solved until today.
Mhm.
So if someone would find any out of the box solution there, maybe, by the way, increase their exposure through some sort of new social media channel in the metaverse. I don't know, but these are the areas I would actually focus.
For sure. And I think I'm hearing some common trends there, right? You need discovery tools, you need audience growth, you need monetization, you need these kind of virtual shared experiences, all of those, whether it's NFTs, metaverse, right? New technologies for investing in creators or enabling these new business models. That's really what's pushing the boundaries of the creator economy forward. That's what I get excited about, right? And it's awesome to see that unfolding as we get into this more decentralized era of Web 3.0, et cetera.
Exactly.
So very cool. Adam, where can people find out more about you and more about Wisio?
So you can find my Instagram channel. It's Adam. It's Adam FRX. That's very easy to find me. And just Google Wisio.com or just Google Wisio, and you could actually find a lot of information on Wisio.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today and sharing your story. It's awesome to hear about the evolution of Wisio and your thoughts on the creator economy. I really appreciate you sharing your perspective.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm James Creech, and this has been another edition of All Things Video. If you like what you hear, we hope you'll share and subscribe for new episodes. See you next time.